This episode is brought to you by Cartamax. Life on the front line requires you step up your game. Owned and operated by former Navy SEAL Sean Matson, Cartamax has designed just the right supplements for you and is offering American Party an exclusive offer. Buy one, get one free in your first order. Go to Cartamax.com and use the promo code American. That's Cartamax.com, helping you achieve your max.
Man, it's so good to see you.
You look like you just came from church.
What?
Yeah.
Dude,
You're not wearing a hat. You're not wearing boots. Your face is clean shaven.
Well, man, I'm in full work mode this week from 8 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. every day, sitting in a fucking class.
Where is it?
It's up in Georgetown. So if any of you all know the ICS stuff, as Dan's well aware of, I am sitting through the ICS. I'm in ICS 300 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then ICS 400 Thursday, Friday. And let me tell you something. This is about the dumbest bullshit I've been part of in my entire life.
Yeah, it is. For someone, I mean, the problem is you can't take it until you've been on the job for a while. But by the time you've been on, 400 is actually good, but 300 by the time you've been on the job for a while, you're like, okay, cool. This is like learning how to ride a bike in your 30s.
Bro, I just don't need it. I just don't fucking need it. Like, I don't.
Well, if you become a lieutenant at some point, you need to. Like, I have the incident command system.
I have zero desires. To doing that shit. Like, if I want to be a firefighter in the back of the fucking truck, getting out, hammering stuff. I don't have any desire to go up and like. That's why I do it. Like, I'm leading everywhere else in my life.
Right.
So why would I want to fucking lead there? I just want to go there and not have to worry about responsibilities or any shit like that. You know.
Well, I mean, so how come you're having to go then?
It's just part of, like, it's just
professional development.
Yeah.
You got to do concurrent education every
240
year.
hours a year.
A year? Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. It's a fucking lot, bro.
That's 30 days worth, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot, you know, but we train a lot. I mean, you know, we train a lot on shift and stuff. I mean, there's plenty of hours and shit.
Yeah, like all the FEMA classes you can do on their website.
Most of them. Like, I've done 1, 2, 7, 8, and like a couple others. But yeah, man, dude, this is fucking
Yeah, it's a
mind.
I did it with Cal Fire back in like, what was that, 2013 or 14, something like that. So it was pretty fun. It was just me and a bunch of firefighters. And everybody, it was taught by a retired firefighter, so everybody was like, all right, cool. We got to get through this, but let's have some fun.
Yeah, it's like FEMA, but I mean, look, it's all FEMA shit, right? So it's like, it's just like typical government shit.
Yeah, the incident command system. It all came about from, it actually came from Cal Fire. There's a lot of incorporated counties and shit, or counties without any kind of fire department in California, especially in Southern California. So they have these MOUs, these memorandums of understanding that, hey, you don't have a fire department, but we've got, we don't have a fire department, but we've got helicopters. You don't have helicopters, but you got to, so we're going to write this. And you do this, you do this. And then the ICS thing is some of it doesn't make sense.
Well, but I'll tell you this, man. I'll tell you this. It's one thing that we should implement inside the military, right? Like, you know, I mean, you know as well as I do, Marines, Army, dude, you could be in the same battle space. We don't communicate. We don't even speak the same fucking language.
Yeah, it's
insane.
Especially when you're trying to do air deconfliction and stuff like that.
Or just missions, right? It's hard to plan a mission together, or even supporting each other. So, I definitely get the concept of it, and it basically was. They developed it a long time ago, like in the 70s. Cal Fire did, and then it got implemented after 9/11. So basically, after 9/11, in one of the after action reports, what they mentioned was that that the Pentagon stuff ran so much smoother because they were on the ICS system, and so they basically implemented that. And then they just said, look, one of our recommendations is that it goes nationwide and everybody implements this. And so everybody has, and that's what we are all doing. It's good, you know, but I mean, it's a good networking. I mean, look, there's a lot of badass. I mean, it's really cool just being in the class. There's some badass dudes in there. It's really cool. But yeah, man, it's literally all day of just your mind. It's like equivalent to sitting in sexual assault classes in the military.
Right. Yeah. It is. It can be mind numbing for sure.
So mind numbing.
Because you're tired. You break down all sorts of stuff, but even at the very top level, it's like, all right, so there's a fire and EMS shows up first, and they have their ranking individual on site, and then fire shows up, and then the police show up because there's some other kind of situation. Who's in charge of that situation?
Yeah, well,
You know what I mean?
we just have like a unified command system, and then basically what they do is it's like I mean, it can be on any scale incident, but we're talking about like snowstorms and shit like that, like basically being able to take care of everything. But yeah,
Right.
it's good. Look, I mean, you know, I kind of like this stuff sometimes because, you know, I mean, the thing is everybody in the world can create their own ecosystem, right? Like you start getting past where you got roommate. Like, I mean, you just, I don't know, the older you get, the more you have control of creating your ecosystem, right? And sometimes we kind of create our own ecosystem and it's comfortable in there, and we kind of lose the appreciation of what life really is like.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
easy to get to be in an echo chamber. People like we're tribal by nature because your dumb reptilian brain says these patterns are dangerous, these patterns are good, and typically the quote unquote good patterns, whether it's true or not, register as something that looks and sounds like you do because you intrinsically trust yourself. And there's a tendency to surround yourself with people who look and think like you do, which is not a good idea, especially
Well,
these days.
but not always. I mean, but it's not necessarily a terrible idea, right? I mean, it's not a terrible. I mean, like it's not a terrible idea to surround yourself with people who give a fuck about other people.
No, I mean, there's certainly.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, for sure. There's certainly benefits to that, and our collective power is obviously one of the things that keeps us safe. So that's why human civilization even exists.
Yeah.
But these days, if you only hang out with people of a certain political belief or something like that, you're going to find yourself in trouble. And I don't mean I don't mean someone, I don't mean you're going to be in trouble with someone. I mean you're going to be dumber than you could have been had you exposed yourself to more types of thought, frankly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, look, I was talking about this the other day, and like me, man, I think it's just like life is kind of like I think everything you do in life is based off of what your priorities are, right? Like the people you surround, like when I see somebody, I don't judge them by the people they have around them. I judge them by the priorities of the people around them, right? Like I don't give a shit if you live in I don't give a shit if you're homeless or you have a bazillion-dollar house, right? Like I just give a shit like what's important to you and how do you treat people around you.
Right.
That's what matters to me. And if you allow people around you to treat people like shit, well, then it tells me everything. But I don't think it's necessarily bad people though, right? So I think that like we go through phases of life to where, again, we surround ourselves by people who we share similar priorities, right? So like when you're younger, you hang out with people who drink all the time because your priority is fucking drinking and partying.
Right.
Right. When you get older, you start valuing like peace and consistency and loyalty and people's time, right?
Well, I mean, you start to fall more into Maslow's hierarchy of needs, safety and security, right?
Yeah,
Food,
for
safety,
sure.
security, shelter, all those things.
Yeah. So, man, I just look at people and it usually tells me at what phase of life they're in.
Right. I mean, and you can tell a lot about someone based on what they tolerate to happen around them, for sure.
100%.
Not that you should necessarily be policing people all the time. That can grow pretty tiresome, not just for you, but for everybody else.
Well, I mean, it does if you have people that need policing all the time.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, sometimes we need to check each other and stuff. But if you find yourself around someone that you're constantly questioning their behavior, you may want to question why you're around them all the time. Like, is there something about that? And look, people have this issue with there's a lot of human beings, myself included, who have gone through phases where people who treat me in a way that's unhealthy for myself are attractive to me for whatever reason, right? Whether it's self-destructive or if it's just not boring, whatever. And you know what they say, there's two wolves inside you and they won't stop fucking. So
Elaborate on that more.
Is that not the saying?
Elaborate on that.
I thought it was. I don't think that's it. I think it's some stupid shit about feeding the wolves, so whichever one you feed the most is going to live.
Oh, yeah.
But my wolves just keep
fucking
constantly. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, My wolves ain't fucking.
They're probably doing puzzles.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Speaking of puzzling, it's puzzling what's going on. God damn it. I guess we're like almost 10 minutes in. I'm going to mention Tim Wu, The Master Switch. If you haven't read that book, go fucking read it, because everything that we're going to talk about today comes back to this man and some of the work he's done. The government isn't some abstraction that exists. It's not like governments happen naturally in nature and shit like that. It is a collection of people who have, agendas, basically, right? And what do we know about politicians? Typically, people that run these government,
they don't have their agendas and the right priorities.
Certainly not. I mean, they're about money and power.
Yeah.
And as their wealth and power increase, it becomes about, avoiding any kind of accountability, right?
Yeah, justifying or avoiding, and there's different ways of avoiding. Whether you justify it, whether you blame someone else. There's tons of it. But yeah, for sure, there's no accountability.
So right now, what we see is what Tim Wu talks about a lot. We're going to talk about government big tech collusion right now, but the overarching theme of his work is not just tech and government. It's been the press, right? It's where that story about the Associated Press and Western Union helping overturn an election come from.
Yeah.
Anytime there's some kind of new technology of any kind, the government tries to, one, gain a monopoly on it, or two, or both, try to weaponize it somehow, right?
Yeah.
So think about nuclear energy. Einstein, for years, was trying to figure out how to split an atom and then how to collect the energy from that split atom to power things, right? That's a pretty noble enterprise to be involved in, because even today we're still fighting wars over sources of energy, right? Government comes along and is like, hey, can you turn that into a bomb that can kill 200,000 people at the same time? Sweet, thanks. It's one example. Weaponizing the airstream or the airwaves with radio ads back in the 30s and 40s. Another one, and now using big tech.
Yeah.
The government's trying to do that at every turn. What is astonishing about this go around is how brazenly and openly they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki admitted that the Biden administration is identifying certain posts for Facebook to censor because they contain what they deem to be misinformation. So the government shouldn't be involved in the business of deciding what is and is not misinformation in the fucking first place.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they feel like they can reach out directly to a private company and tell them how to moderate content like that is wild. So here's what, during the briefing, Psaki stated: we are in regular touch with the social media platforms, and those engagements typically happen through members of our senior staff and also members of our COVID-19 team.
So let me ask you this, though.
Yeah.
So on the backside of it, I got that they might be reaching out saying something, but what is Facebook getting that makes them actually abide by it?
Well, they're not paying taxes. I'm sure that has something to do with it, right? And then what was the fucking big story coming out of the election? Is that now the Biden administration is going to go after Google and go after Facebook and this and that, and there's going to be trials and blah, blah, blah. Nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing has happened, and nothing will happen, right?
No.
Provided they do and say what Facebook wants them to, right? So Psaki went on to say that the White House was, quote, flagging problematic posts for Facebook that spread disinformation, end quote. So now the government is telling the most ubiquitous form of communication how to monitor and censor its communication.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's beyond nuts. This is one of the
Criminal.
steps
It's fucking
in
criminal.
fascism, right?
Yeah.
This is if a private security guard working for a private company on their property comes up to you and demands to search you without any cause, you might be able to sue the private company for harassment or something, but they've not violated your Fourth Amendment. If they call the police to report you because they think you've stolen or whatever, and The cop on the phone says, okay, go ahead and search him. And there's not some demonstration of probable cause, right, that would justify that search, then you and the cop have violated that person's Fourth Amendment right? I say that to say this. Facebook as an organization cannot directly violate your right to free speech.
Because it's not government.
Right. But if the government says, do this, and they do it, then they have, right? So Facebook is now violating your First Amendment rights. Now, this isn't some this isn't some person working for a private company saying, you know, fucking Amazon didn't let me wear my fuck Trump t-shirt to work today, or my fuck Biden t-shirt to work today, so they're violating my First Amendment rights. No, they're not. They're not. Unless the government called them and told them to tell you not to wear that shirt. Then they have done that, right? But that's exactly what we're seeing now. Unbelievable that this is happening in broad goddamn daylight.
How do you hold them accountable?
That's another question altogether. Psaki claimed that the White House isn't removing or blocking any posts and said, we don't take anything down, we don't block anything. Rather, the administration is merely flagging problematic posts and suggesting additional steps that Facebook and others should take against information that is leading to people not taking the vaccine. So we're not actually clicking the ban button ourselves. We're just telling them to do that. And by the way, there's this investigation going on into your company. It'd be a shame if it went the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Are you fucking kidding me? Just the obfuscation of responsibility has become the gold standard in all of government and media these days. Unbelievable. Excuse me.
I just think it's crazy that she's admitting this.
Yeah. Out loud. Psaki admitted as well that the White House wants Facebook to adjust their algorithm to only promote information that fits their narrative. So she says, we have proposed they promote quality information sources in their feed algorithm. We've seen them effectively do this in their algorithm over low quality information, and they've chosen not to use it in this case.
Well, yeah, good.
So the government that's been wrong about everything, especially about this particular situation with this virus, wants to appoint themselves the fucking standard for whether or not information is accurate. What the fuck,
bro? But again, like back, because we're talking about COVID, right? I just don't understand, like, why the fuck are vaccinated people scared of unvaccinated people?
Well, if you're in Israel, I would assume that you'd be scared of them because they have better natural immunity than you. Because that's what the data shows. It shows that people are getting hospitalized less who have already had it versus people that have not had it and been immunized have not been immunized.
But that's my question to you is, right, if this vaccine, because this is what it comes down to. They just need more vaccines taken.
Right. I'm sure there's the projection is that something like $160 billion is going to be spent just on this vaccine over the next 4 or 5 years.
So my thing to you is, if like all these people got this vaccine and it's so good, why do they give a fuck if other people don't take it?
What's funny,
does it make sense or no?
Yeah. What's his name? Sagar said today, or yesterday maybe, the narrative was to convince everybody to go get the vaccine that it made you one, you could take all that shit off your face, right?
That's the narrative.
Because you're not contagious anymore. And then two, that you're going to be less likely to contract it again and thus disrupt your life.
Bro, I would have never got it. I have the vaccine. Mm-hmm. I took it. I would have never got it if I was still going to get the same shit talked to me as if I didn't get it.
Most people feel that way. Actually, there's a lot of protests going on internationally just about that. Just about like, hey, what was the fucking point of all this?
And let me ask you this, right? Like, we're seeing this cycle start over. Oh, now the Delta variant, right? How are they going? How does the government come back out and say we're going to do a shutdown again?
Because they think you're stupid.
Yeah. What do you think's going to happen?
They think people are stupid, so they're going to try to scare people into doing this shit. And at some point, the tech companies are going to start losing money, and that's one thing they're not prepared to do. And they're going to fucking turn that switch on.
How are they going to lose money? The tech companies are going to fucking keep making money because everybody, just like we seen, everybody is. It's going to force. The tech companies are doing great whenever these shutdowns go down because everybody's consuming them.
For now, but when stories like this come out, when your partner in crime, for lack of a better phrase, Jen Psaki, comes out and says stuff like this, then people tune the fuck out. You know what I mean? And it's so the CDC put out a statement, oddly enough, over the week or last Wednesday, I think it was. They told people not to use the PCR test anymore. The fucking rapid COVID testing that we spent billions of dollars on because it cannot tell the difference between COVID-19 and the fucking flu.
Where's that said?
On yahoo.com.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. The U.S. has reported more than 34.4 million cases of the coronavirus since the pandemic began in 2020 and 610,000 deaths. So here's a little bit of data for you. In 2020, there were 646 deaths relating to flu among adults. In a typical year, it's somewhere between 24,000 and 65,000. So I guess the cure for the flu was COVID this whole time.
Yeah.
Who knew? Who knew it was going to be that?
We might have got COVID, but Donald Trump cured the flu.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So basically, what we've been saying for the last 18 months is proven true. We've been lied to entirely about this entire situation. The number of infections was not real. The number of deaths because of comorbidity and stuff were not real. We've caught them actually lying about it multiple times. And now these are the motherfuckers that are trying to take some moral high ground and tell everybody to go get your vaccine. Otherwise, you're failing your community.
Yeah.
You failed the community. Over and over again, you've lied to people, and you still got this clown Fauci running around talking about whatever the fuck he's talking about now.
Dude.
Right? No one really trusts or pays attention to that guy.
He is the James Comey, Eric Holder, all of them on steroids.
Yeah. He's one of the biggest pathological liars I've ever seen in my life. Unbelievable that guy still has some kind of position of authority, particularly in the science community, where there's no amount of scientific rigor going into the statements that he's making. He's misleading people on a daily basis. And it's not just about, look, if there's a disease out there that can fuck people up, not taking it seriously can cost people their lives. You know what else can cost them their lives? Is depression.
Yeah.
Losing your fucking business that you spent 20 years building, and now you're fucking poor, and now your quality of life suffers, and that is a bigger contributor to death rate than any of this other shit.
Bro,
certainly more than COVID.
I'll tell you right now. The person, and obviously this is kind of a big deal. A couple weeks ago, that I came out and I actually told y'all that I was a doctor, and
God damn it.
And honestly, man, my inspiration for that was
Fauci.
Mm. Yeah, dude, if Fauci can get away with all this bullshit being a doctor, then I for sure can.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, you should definitely have your own. You should go. Dr. Phil's not a doctor either.
Well, I'll be honest, right? The VA, you can't get rid of the VA, you can't get rid of Fauci. Bro, I have a fucking standing chance to be a doctor in this country with credibility from this point on.
You should just start performing surgeries.
Well, I do.
No, but get paid for it.
I do it for free. I do the Lord's work for free. You know what I mean? I don't
pass out Chick-fil-A sandwiches on Sunday.
Well, I don't eat Chick-fil-A because that is the Lord's restaurant.
So why would you not eat it then?
Well, because Sundays we take off.
Who's we?
The Lord's people.
Mm.
But anyways, back to my point. So I just think that that was truly my inspiration for coming out and announcing that I was a doctor, is that Fauci still gets to go up and talk and that dude. Bro, I'm an EMT basic. I can get more shit right than that fucking guy.
For sure, yeah. He is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
To be honest, he's really stupid. And we're talking about all this shit, right? The fact that for the entire first part of the year last year, we were on this show and people were out in social media, including a lot of doctors, saying the numbers you're giving us are not true. They do not make sense, right? This is not happening. This is not what reality is, and people are getting banned for it from social media.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking Donald goddamn Trump got banned for it, right? Well, not for that specifically, but he got banned during that whole process. A lot of people got their accounts suspended. A lot of fucking shit got pushed under the fucking rug by social media, and all of a sudden the government wants social media to take an even bigger role, and what they're doing is spreading disinformation, right? Whenever you shut down dissent, you're in the business of spreading disinformation.
Bro, my thing to you is this, and like, why have we not heard anything else about following up on this originating in China?
Oh yeah.
How did that just disappear?
Because a lot of people are going to lose their careers, including Fauci, the face of this franchise, if the legit truth comes out about all that.
Bro, it's fucked up.
So not only does the White House think that you should be banned from, let's say, Twitter, if you make a comment that they consider quote unquote misleading. They think that the social media platforms should work together to ban all of your accounts. So now what you have is not a regulated situation. This isn't a law being applied. This is the White House telling companies to collude against you. I
mean, this is pretty much what North Korea does.
Yeah. I mean, this is I've never fucking seen something like this before. What Saki actually says was, so you have a direct quote on this, you shouldn't be banned from one platform and not the others. Right?
Yeah.
Cool.
What, true word. Word.
She also said that she singled out 12 unnamed individuals as the source of 65% of the so-called misinformation on social media. Bitch, I can do math. When you tell me that last year there were 640 deaths from the flu and the year before that there were fucking 60,000, okay, cool. I'm not going to believe that. Obviously, I'm not going to believe that. And when for 1 year you give me a range, so for 2019 the range is 24,000 to 62,000.
Yeah.
That's somewhere and it's because of comorbidities and everything else. Have you seen one goddamn COVID death number be a range? Like we think, because of comorbidities, it's somewhere between this amount and this amount. No, it's been the highest goddamn number they can get their fucking hands on every single time.
Of course it is, right? And when you look at what all this is, it's because they tied funding. So the way they did it was they tied funding to COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like hospitals were getting paid in some cases $800 per patient.
That's what I'm saying. Right. So like what they did is they incentivized the people who would be reporting it to report it as COVID. I know for a fact right now, I know a police officer in California who he reads he gets all the death reports, right?
Right.
Looked at it. The cause of death was not COVID. All it says on the report was
positive for COVID.
That no, not even tested positive. Symptoms.
Oh,
COVID symptoms.
I mean, George Floyd had COVID. Did he die from it?
So you know what they put down as their cause of death? COVID.
Right, because they get the government funding. I mean,
exactly. It's fucked.
This is no different than what we talked about earlier today with Tim Kennedy about his school and how education systems all over the country are basically teaching to the standardized test. They don't teach anything real. Yeah. They just figure out what the standardized test wants and they teach the kids that all year. That's it.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's fucking stupid. It's a completely broken system. Just so they don't get their fucking federal funding taken away. Yeah. Every single year. It's ridiculous. What's not ridiculous is ghostbed.com.
Fuck yeah.
/Drink It Bros.
Yes.
Can't wait. I'm sure you're looking forward to sleeping in one since you've had a long day today.
Yeah, man. It's always good to go home to a ghost bed. I got the Lux. It's badass. They look again. I always love to talk about it. Ghost Bed's been supporting those that support us way before it was COVID cool. Just an incredible company. They stand behind what they do. They make their product affordable. Look, they give you 36 months, 0% down financing. Pay as you go, Really badass. They got 20-year warranty, bro.
Yeah.
What could you do in your bed for 20 years?
There's no way any bed of mine would still be a one piece
After
20 years.
Would you eat off my bed? How much would it take for you to eat off my bed after 20 years?
Infinity. There's no amount of money you can pay me to do that.
My bed? Dude, I just puzzle on it.
No. Anybody that downplays their level of weirdness is weirder than anybody else. So I don't even want to know what the hell's going on in your bedroom.
Yeah, well,
I am glad though that you have the mattress protector from Ghost
I
Bed.
do, yep. And I have the cooling sheets and the cooling pillows for whenever it gets real hot.
Well, it's Texas, right? I mean, I have to keep all my window shades pulled.
Me too.
During the summer, during the day. Like sometimes I leave it open because like, oh, it's nice outside. I want to see that. Nope, it's too hot.
Yeah.
Because my thermostat is set to 68, but the temperature inside is 74.
Yeah.
Untenable. Next up, we got Amazon Music. This is a new one for us.
Hell yeah.
I actually use Amazon Music all the time. I've dabbled in some of the other ones, but Amazon's always been my favorite because I like that they have, you can see the lyrics and stuff up there. I just like it. But anyways, they also have a ton of podcasts over there, including ours. They've got 10 million free podcast episodes over there. They also have thousands of music stations. That's another thing I like that they do. So you search for an artist, and then let's say I'm searching for I like Lamb of God, the band Lamb of God. I search for Lamb of God.
Me too.
And then it makes a Lamb of God station, which is it'll play a Lamb of God song, and then it'll just shuffle through songs from similar artists.
You know what I like about it?
What's that?
Bro, I like that they have Garth Brooks.
Oh God!
Blame it all on my roots.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Don't help him. God damn it.
What do you think, bro? That's
No,
why I like Amazon Music.
Look,
Hell yeah, it's the only place you can listen to Garth.
Garth, look, he sang at the inauguration, and then he hugged everybody without a mask on. So
Rebel without a cause.
Yeah, he's the only guy that can.
I think he still lives in a trailer too.
No, he lives on a giant compound with
Let's
with Trisha Yearwood, and then his ex-wife and his kids live in another part of the compound. Anyways, I love Amazon Music Unlimited. I listen to all sorts of different music, so when I'm trying to find new stuff, it's one of the best places to go. It also, you don't have to hear an ad every time you skip something. You can just skip around and do whatever you want. So if you've never tried Amazon Music Unlimited, now is a great time to do that. For a limited time, new customers can try Amazon Music Unlimited free for 30 days. No credit card required. Just go to Amazon.com/American Party. That's Amazon.com/American Party to try Amazon Music Unlimited free for 30 days. Amazon.com/American Party. It renews automatically, and you can cancel anytime. Terms apply.
Yeah, you weren't wrong about Garth Brooks because I thought he still lived. I thought I seen something that he still lived in a trailer, but I guess that's not true.
No,
I lost respect for him.
He's worth like $1 gajillion. Why in the hell would he live in a trailer?
Bro, I would. I mean, listen, you probably have you ever lived in a 60 by 40 Oakwood Harbor? Yeah.
I don't even know what those words mean.
Well, that's because that's a single wide.
Oh, then yeah, I probably have.
I don't know if 60 by 40. No, 60 by 40 is a double wide.
Oh, well, no, I've never been that fancy.
Yeah, bro, you get you a double. I didn't even know they made houses without wheels until I was like fucking 11.
That's true. You're from Kentucky, so that's not really a good example.
Hell yeah, man.
Next up, we got Carter Max.
Achieve your max.
I love this stuff. We're talking about the immunity booster today. You as an EMT firefighter,
doctor.
You don't.
You can call me doctor.
You don't really have the option to avoid people.
Yeah.
Right. And no matter what PPE precautions someone like you takes.
Well, especially traveling too, man. Like just traveling, like all that shit, right? Like trying to keep. I mean,
all of it.
Like when you're on the road a lot, like you talk about kicking your ass and feeling like you got. I call it the travel flu.
People have been talking about the SHOT Show flu / Vegas flu for years.
Bro,
now.
I'm gonna eat.
It's a real thing.
I'm gonna eat Cartamax.
Yeah, I mean, I keep anytime I travel anywhere, I've got a bunch of it in my bag. But
I'm talking Cartamax, not weed.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Okay. I have Cartamax all over the place. I use the orange one. The watermelon's good. I prefer the orange one. But every morning I drink one of those. Yeah. Every morning I drink. Sometimes 2 or 3 a day, depends. You know what I mean? But
I do.
It definitely helps keep me going on the road. It keeps me from getting those stupid little, like, we live in Texas. There's enough shit going on here to fuck with my congestion as it is without having to get on a fart tube in the air with a bunch of, pestilence-ridden peasants.
They say there's only two types of people in Texas. Those that have allergies, and those that are about to get them.
Yeah. Everybody thinks they don't have allergies until they come here.
Yeah.
Then it's like salt base sprinkling fucking cedar fever in your nose.
Pixie angels.
Anyways, Cardamax is great. Definitely has a lot of vitamins in it that keep your immunity strong. And we believe in natural immunity here.
I mean, I just like to say that they keep you achieving your max.
Yeah, achieving your climax. Cardamax is offering American Party an exclusive offer. BOGO. Buy one, get one free on your first order. Go to cardamax.com. Use the promo code American. That's CARDOMAX.com. Use the promo code American, and you'll get buy one, get one free on your first order. This offer ends July 30th, so in 2 days. So get your shit together and go buy some fucking Cardamax.
Hell yeah.
There's a, if people are wondering if all of these comments from the White House were taken out of context or whatever, luckily by now they've had the opportunity to respond. When asked to clear, so Biden made that comment about a week ago that the 12 people that Jen Psaki mentioned that are responsible for 65% of the misinformation, which by the way is a fucking ludicrous statement. That is they're trying to tell you that there's a couple of people out there, and the presumption is that they would probably be Russian, right? Because that's the play they've tried to make is with Trump this whole time. It's, just Russian collusion and Trump. Nonsense. They're trying to make you believe that 12 outside people are trying to control your brain, right? This is gaslighting. They are literally trying to do what they're accusing 12 people of doing in front of your fucking face. And Biden said that these 12 people were, in Facebook were killing people because of the misinformation. Now, obviously, Facebook wasn't thrilled about Biden saying they were trying to kill people.
Yeah, I'm sure they weren't, were they?
No. And when asked to clarify his comments, Biden said this: Facebook isn't killing people. These 12 people who are out there giving misinformation, anyone listening to it is getting hurt by it. It's killing people. So the presumption is that Facebook is allowing people to get hurt because of misinformation. This is only the latest example of collusion between government and tech. As I said before, now we can talk about some of the more recent stuff that's happened that is just a clear partnership between government and big business against the interest of normal people. So, during last election, the Office of Election Cybersecurity in California monitored and tracked social media posts and decided whether or not they were misinformation. So a government agency was doing this.
Yeah.
Technology.
They're trying to do that shit on your phones.
Yeah, technology under control of the government was leveraged to monitor your activities. Not a good thing.
Not a good fucking thing.
These posts were coded by threat levels, and on 31 different occasions, the Office of Election Cybersecurity requests to have posts removed. So a government agency reached out directly to social media and told them or requested that they remove shit. In 24 of the 31 cases, the social media companies agreed and either took down the posts or flagged them as misinformation. Now, we don't know which post it was, but I can tell you that New York Post story about fucking Hunter Biden and all of his bullshit that got banned social media wide, that was definitely one of them.
For sure.
Because it got banned like this across all of social media immediately.
Gone.
Senior Public Information Officer for the OEC, Jenna Dresder, defended their actions in the same manner Jen Psaki had in her recent press conference, saying the following: "We don't take posts down. That's not our role to play. We alert potential sources of misinformation to social media companies, and we let them make that call based on the community standards they created." If any part of you believes that these government agencies and politicians and et cetera aren't leveraging some kind of power against social media to get them to act like that, you're fucking crazy. Social media, they don't give they're amoral. All they care about is making money. They're not trying to save the world.
That's fucking it.
On October 14th, speaking of this, the New York Post published articles containing emails which suggested that Hunter Biden facilitated a meeting between an advisor to the board of Burisma and his father. In response, Twitter suspended the main account of the New York Post for a number of weeks. The New York Post got their account suspended for reporting news.
Yeah.
Twitter also blocked the article from being shared in tweets or direct messages. So you couldn't even DM somebody, right? Initially, Twitter claimed the article violated their policy of sharing hacked material, even though there was no evidence that the emails had been hacked. As a matter of fact, Hunter Biden had left his laptop somewhere and somebody sold it. So it definitely didn't get hacked. He was just maybe cracked because he smoked crack. Got it.
Cheese.
Yeah. Later, Twitter changed their story saying the story was being censored due to images within the article, not the content of the article itself. Now, Twitter, you can post a picture of your fucking dick right now, and that's not against their community standards. So what, getting sucked off by a Russian prostitute is somehow, that's the line, huh? Soon afterwards, Facebook also blocked the New York Post story from being shared, but claimed it was due to their policy for slowing the spread of potential misinformation. The suppression of the story on social media allowed the mainstream media to essentially ignore the allegations without being questioned by the general public. Now, this isn't one of those stories where it's not like Roger Clinton, like, hey, Bill, your brother's kind of a fucking asshole, man. What are you going to do about it? Or like Barack Obama's weird-ass dad or uncle or whatever the fuck it is. This is the son of a guy who's trying to become the president. And the son has set up this secret meeting between his dad and this fucking foreign company. That is newsworthy. It's something that voters should know about.
I mean, it's one of our biggest enemies.
Yeah. It's definitely not something that you would expect to see suppressed.
I mean, look how long they investigated Trump over Russia.
Yeah.
And nothing here?
I mean, they're still doing it right now.
And nothing here?
Yeah. So as a result of social media and the mainstream media suppressing the story, a Media Research Center poll indicated that 36% of Biden voters were completely unaware of the allegations going into the 2020 election. That is unacceptable. If there is any kind of tangible evidence that someone about to take the highest position in the country is involved with a foreign country especially, but in any kind of criminal activity, that is newsworthy. You put all the information out and you let people decide.
But come on, bro. Like that's where these algorithms will never work.
Right.
Like, that's where these algorithms will just never fucking work. Like, people should be able to set their own algorithms.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we saw, did you see that shit on Instagram now, apparently?
Yeah, I turned mine off.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, the default setting on Instagram is to block anything that might be, I don't know, triggering to you. And then there's an even higher setting where, like, I don't want to see anything that offends anybody anywhere. Obviously, mine is set to, if you don't offend me, I'm offended.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, but like, if I don't like what you're putting out, bro, I can unfollow you.
This is the argument that George Carlin made about the FCC, right? The FCC exists because some preacher in the 1930s wrote a letter to a radio company, or wrote a letter to the government in his town that made its way up the chain that said, hey, I didn't like what was on the radio then. You guys need to regulate what's on the radio. No one told the guy that there's a power switch on the fucking thing where you can turn it off, or a tuner switch where you can change it to something the fuck else. Maybe take some responsibility. You're going to go stand in the middle of a fire and complain that it's hot, you stupid fuck? Like, if you don't like it, you don't like it. Go away.
Yeah.
Not everything is for you. I don't know why people would even think that. So back to this. Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey eventually admitted that its policy of forbidding anyone to tweet about the Hunter Biden article was a mistake, but he still attempted to force the New York Post to remove the article entirely. So, I mean, that guy's a piece of shit. Everybody knows Jack Dorsey's a piece of shit at this point.
Yeah, everybody knows Jack Dorsey's a piece of shit.
I mean, that's...
He's rich, though.
Yeah, and he's got it's the worst goatee I've ever seen. He just looks like an idiot. So to kind of narrow down why some of this is truly problematic, aside from the obvious, constitutional problems are the first, right? Yeah. So, excuse me.
I mean, where does it stop? Like, it starts here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I mean, certainly, I'm not a huge fan of slippery slope arguments because, look, we have to make progress as a society and change as things need to be changed.
Bro.
But not change for the sake of change. We make that fucking mistake all the time.
Let me say this, though. Here's the issue, right? You've literally got 3 platforms now. 3 platforms. four, owned by technically two different people.
Right.
Right. You've got these four platforms. And the only reason they don't control everything right now is because you still have an older generation who knew life before there that doesn't use it.
Right. But there will be a time.
But the next generation, they've already got fucking like dude, we're playing checkers while they're playing chess. Tech's playing chess.
Yeah. Yeah, they're certainly playing the long game. I mean, if you condition people over a long enough time period, you can get them to do anything. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. So the First Amendment prevents the government from suppressing or censoring an individual's freedom of expression. As private companies, social media platforms aren't beholden to the First Amendment and therefore are allowed to censor what people can post on their websites as they see fit. It is the right to refuse service in this case, right? Mm-hmm. Given the growing role of social media in public discourse, it has become a de facto public square for sharing information and ideas. It has become a public utility.
Yeah.
Right? Like the telephone. You can't fucking tell people what they can and can't say on the goddamn telephone unless it's a crime, unless they're committing criminal conspiracy. But then, even then, you're not charging them for using the phone. You're charging them for committing the criminal conspiracy.
But the difference with the telephone is like, I mean, it's like back in the day, like you got to pick which TV stations you watched,
right?
What news you took information from, you got to select what newspaper you wanted,
right?
Now, you can follow people, but it doesn't mean you're going to see their shit,
right? Yeah, for sure.
Because I mean, it's fucked up, man.
Yeah, it certainly is. If we, the short version is, if we allow the government to dictate what is or isn't allowed on social media, they are essentially sidestepping the Constitution. They are a police officer telling a fucking security guard to search somebody or telling somebody else other than themselves to go search something that they don't have a constitutional right to search. That is what is happening.
Yeah.
And that's fucked. So what are some of the things that could be done about it? I mean, Section 230, we all know about this shit. We hear about it all the time. Is the section of the Communications Decency Act that provides immunity for website platforms from liability regarding third-party content. For example, if someone were to use your platform to commit crimes and you are unaware, you can't be charged. Like Facebook can't be charged for people selling drugs through Facebook Messenger, for example, unless they know about it and don't report it or know about it or helping promote it or something like that. Websites that host third-party content, which are pretty much all social media sites, are not liable for what is posted to their platform by the users. This section classifies social media platforms as distributors unaware of what they are distributing, as opposed to publishers who are aware of what they are publishing. So, like, if
what's fucked up though,
if a newspaper that controls the printing press is printing like pictures of dongs and sending it out, okay, now you've established a crime has happened, right? But in this case, they think because they want to have everybody on these platforms, if somebody's to step out of line here or there, right, then you can't just shut the company down, which is funny because they want to apply the same thing to a gun manufacturer.
Yeah.
People want to sue gun manufacturers for shit that happens after their weapon is sold from them to two other people and then to the end user. And somehow they want to fucking tie that back to this. But these motherfuckers don't want to take responsibility for the child trafficking that's happening on their websites.
No.
You know what I mean? I mean, give me a fucking break.
It's fucking nuts, man. I mean, it's just like all Section 230 does is just takes more liability off of big tech.
Right, and it should be telling to everybody out there that the government at large has been completely willing to let these tech companies sidestep any kind of responsibility, while at least 50% of the political spectrum in America has been working hard, very, very hard for a long time to chisel away at your ability to buy guns.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're trying to allow for a company or a group of companies that willfully engage with them and collude with them to misrepresent reality.
And they don't give a fuck.
And then they want to collude, or they want to use their power on the other end to stop you from getting guns. Fuck that shit. I mean, that is ridiculous. Proponents of, well, hold on. So in the last few years, some politicians have argued that Section 230 should only provide protection to platforms that are politically neutral, thus forcing social media into neutrality. I like that idea in principle, but how do you decide what is and isn't political? You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't have thought that science
would be
political, but we have the entire
it's
government
all
lying to
taken
us.
that way.
Yeah, the government is lying to us constantly about science now.
The reality is that everything is made political now. That's the reality. Everything's fucking political. Everything is politically charged. Everything has a political agenda.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, like, the easy go-to now is like, oh, well, that's a fucking Democrat thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a stupid catch-all for
But the other thing, like,
people don't want to
what
do.
I don't understand is like, why has neither the left nor the right, and obviously big tech is kicking the right's ass in every aspect. So, like, why is the right not taking them to task? You got to wonder what big tech has on the right.
They're getting something.
Well, I don't think
Or
they're
giving something.
I think they're I think that the right. I think that Facebook has enough. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I just think that they've got dirt.
Maybe. I mean, but also Republicans know that they can't get elected without social media. So they can push it, but they can't push it that far.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I think it probably is, to be honest. Proponents of reforming Section 230 believe that if a platform is curating the content that is published, then they are in fact publishers and not distributors, and therefore are not protected from liability. That means it's one thing to have a place where people can just post stuff, like 4chan, for example. You can post whatever you want, and the content disappears later.
Yeah.
Reddit, for the most part, you can post whatever the fuck you want. Once the company comes in and starts to moderate the content, they're taking a position in the publishing process. And that's what these people on the reform side say. The opponents of reforming it claim that removing protections will result in more censorship, as companies would remove any and all controversial content to avoid repercussion. That's a good point, right? Maybe the government shouldn't be involved in deciding what I can and can't fucking see.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
Like if somebody wants to hold Facebook accountable because they're allowing child trafficking to happen on their platform while they're focusing on what they deem to be misinformation about a virus, which they've been completely wrong about, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, if that's where their priorities are, then fuck them. You know what I mean? I mean, they haven't earned the right to have our trust.
Are you going to get off Instagram and Facebook, though?
I can't now.
I can't either,
for
right?
business, right? That's the fucking
that's
point.
the problem.
People can bring that up as like, what are you going to do? You're going to stop using your fucking iPhone and Mac? No, I'm not. I'm going to fucking talk shit because you're fucking up. Like, that's the whole point, is it's become so ubiquitous that I can't say no anymore.
Yeah,
if I could say no and go do something else, then that's what I would do.
That's
but
why
I can't.
I said they're playing chess while we're playing checkers.
Well, they're playing chess, yeah, sure. Or they're playing chess, we're playing checkers. What they don't know is that there's a fucking sawed-off shotgun underneath the chessboard.
Yeah.
And at some point, that is what power is. Ultimately, power comes down to a man with a gun and another man with a gun. Maybe fists, maybe knives, maybe swords, whatever the fuck through history. But at some point, it's going to come down to two people facing off and deciding, right? Trial by fucking combat. That is what life is all about. You know,
That's how this country is founded.
It's how all countries are founded, right? And then they slip into the mire of nonsense, and National Socialism pops up, and the world fucking crushes your ass, right? And then something else pops up, and the world crushes your ass. But the world are just people who are tired of bullshit.
Yeah, we're getting there.
And it's coming, man, I'm telling you. So what I've been saying for the last 2 or 3 years is that we should take whatever steps we need to take to classify social media as a public utility or what's known as a common carrier, right? Like, you can't do business without it.
For sure. You can't. Not anymore.
You can't do business without it. You can't really communicate efficiently without it anymore. It has become a public square. Another possible solution for preventing censorship is to classify social media as a public utility. And then the problem with that is that the government then regulates what's okay and what's not a public utility. That is a problem, but it is also a problem with a solution because of the protections provided under the First Amendment. You know what I mean? Now there's recourse. If I understand giving the government power is not a good idea. Just hear me out. We give power to them, which we limit with the Constitution.
Yeah.
That's the way our system of government is meant to be set up. We realize that some job needs to get done that we don't have time to do. We say, hey, government, do this. Here's the fucking limitations. you can't go beyond this line, and this line is the fucking Constitution. And if you do, we're coming for you, right? And somebody's going to get in trouble for it. That's the point of that. So now, if I go to Facebook and say, hey, you removed my post because of this, they can be like, yeah, this is my company, and go fuck yourself. But if it's considered a public utility, then I'm like, hey, I made a post about a Democratic candidate, and this fucking Republican social media site took it down. They're like, all right, fuck them. Now they get fined.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
Never happened.
No, it certainly will never happen. And I don't even know if it's a good idea, to be honest. Currently, social media is defined as, quote, a group of internet-based applications that build on the ideological and technological foundations of Web 2.0 that allow the creation and exchange of user-generated content. User-generated content is the key phrase in that, right? Because it still gives them that parachute, that fallback, for lack of a better phrase, that, oh, it's not us, man.
It's not us, it's them.
It's not us.
It's not you,
well,
it's
it
me.
became you when you started fucking censoring what people couldn't say without any
Well, I mean,
real
let me
reason.
ask you this. Like, if you're living at my house, dealing drugs out of my house, do I get in trouble? Running
Yes.
a prostitution ring?
If you know about it, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But only if you know about it. Or if you're demonstrably, willfully ignorant, I guess. Could be an argument.
So you think if we're driving down the road in my truck right now and you got fucking heroin over there and we get pulled over and it's in my truck, you don't think I'm getting arrested?
Maybe, but you wouldn't get charged for that.
I mean, it's still going to have a fucking headache.
It would be a headache, sure, yeah. Unpleasant. So there's, it's an interesting argument to be made. There is this entity that has a constitutionally limited ability to do things, right? And then there's this other entity that can spend enough money to warp what this organization is doing. So is there any solution that even makes any sense here? Let's say we do genuinely believe that the First and Second Amendment of the Constitution will protect us from whatever happens if we give the government ability to censor this shit, right? If we truly believe that. Even if that's true, at what point does the money that's still made, the vast majority of money in this country via tech, can't be leveraged against these politicians to start changing what is and isn't acceptable?
So do I think there's a way to fix this? Yes. I think you go back. There is no algorithms to the social media. Facebook, like, unless the police order them to have something removed, it's kind of like phone calls.
Right.
Like, then they're not allowed to just fucking take shit down. Right? Unless it is like you can't go out and tell people to stop saying things on the streets. So, like, you just don't get to do that. And and the people get to select if they're. I
mean, there's some stuff you can tell people to stop doing on the street. You can tell them to stop harassing people. You can tell them to put clothes on, for example.
I mean, I got you. So, like, obviously, like, if it's nudity.
Yeah. There has to be some process to verify you're 18 or over.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
But like either way, like, and you want to talk about the number one thing that would fix all of it, and I've said this on the show before, is if you required people to have an address and an ID card that verified that their account was attached to them. You talk about fixing 95% of this bullshit.
Yeah.
Bro, when motherfuckers have to put their face and name next to what they're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, the problem is, though, whenever you allow data like that to be collected, the government can then use it. You know what I mean?
They already got it.
This is why.
What do you think they don't have of yours?
Of mine, they have everything for sure, right?
And I'm sure they have. If you've ever gone to a hospital, if you've ever if you've gone to a school system, if you've ever, like, I mean, at this point in life, if you have an iPhone and you've bought if you've bought a phone somewhere, bro, they have every bit of your information.
Probably, but why make it easier for them?
What do you,
I mean, it's the same thing with the gun registry thing. This is the same argument people make against it. Like,
yeah, I mean,
we can't give the government that.
Okay, well, do you want it fixed or not? Right? Like, do you want, like, with gun?
I'm not going to take a bad solution. No.
I'll tell you right now, with gun registry, that gun is registered somewhere. You
maybe,
had to do a background check.
Yeah, maybe. If it's like serial numbers, you can still do metallurgic matches and stuff like that. But yeah, you can, if with enough evidence, you might be able to track it back to somewhere. For sure.
It's got to be tracked somewhere.
But I think the point is a bunch of people don't want to send the government a list of their
my
fucking
point
firearms.
to you is this. My point to you is this. There's no 99% of people on this earth are too fucking lazy to go through the steps to keep the government from getting anything, and the government already has it somewhere. So why are we bitching about it?
I think that
I got you might not want them to know what guns you have right now, but they still got your information.
They have it, yeah. I mean, look, it's so if that's the case, if that is an unavoidable issue, then the issue becomes how do you limit the power of government in the first place? That should be the goal of any reasonable
How do you limit them with your cell phone?
No. I mean, how do we collectively not? You're talking about treating symptoms now. We need to treat a cause. How do you keep the government so powerless, for lack of a better phrase, that they don't have the ability to leverage that information?
I mean, the government doesn't have power over me.
Well, they can come arrest you anytime they want.
But it's my choice if I go.
Sure,
the government doesn't. I mean, again, the government only has so much fucking. The government has as much power over an individual as the individual allows the government to have.
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. Then, if it is. If it is an unavoidable scenario that the government would have that information in the first place, the only real option is to limit their power, not just you individually, but us collectively limit their power.
Everybody's got to grow some balls, figure out what you're willing to give in for. Stop bitching about it and fucking start standing for it, right?
Yeah.
Like if I was driving drunk, which I don't drink and drive, so like if I was driving drunk and I got pulled over, like, dude, I would put the handcuffs on me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm wrong.
Got me.
Right? You got me.
Yep.
Right? But if you show up at my house and you tell me you have a warrant for something I didn't do.
Like, show me the warrant first
Either
before
way,
I open the door.
Either way. Like, if you came to arrest me for something that I know damn well I didn't do.
Right.
Bro, I ain't going.
Yeah. Well, you're going, but not willingly, obviously.
I mean, you got to kill me.
Yeah.
I'm not going. Do you think I would trust the judicial system?
No. No, you can't even say the phrase.
I can't even say the fucking word.
No, there's actually an old Dana Carvey joke about no one can say judicial system without sounding drunk.
Yeah, shit.
It's a hard phrase. Anyways, yeah, I agree with you on that.
So
that's got to be
this,
that is you as the individual, and that's good. I appreciate that.
But the government's made up as individuals, right? Again, like you ask.
Well, what I'm saying is that how do we bind that attitude in the plurality of Americans that it exists in?
I'll tell you.
And fight back against, We
don't have to. Like, if more people think that way, if more people grow the fucking balls and just stop bitching,
right,
and they're willing to stand for whatever it is that they believe in instead of bitching and waiting for somebody else to do it, that's the issue. What you're talking about right now is us having to do it for them again.
Well, that's how it's going to work, though.
No,
right?
no, it's not. No, it's not. Like, in America, man, I got my house. I live life my way. I live life on my fucking terms. I live by the principles I believe in. I say the things that I fucking believe. Am I wrong? I'm wrong all the time.
Right.
I'm willing to fucking say sorry. I'm willing to grow and learn more about it, right? But I'm not willing, like, I'm willing to die for my freedom here as I was over there. That's why when I hear people talk about, like, oh, the government's doing this to me or it's shoving me here, it's like, well, then why do you let it?
Yeah, but I think people, one, are afraid, obviously, and they have a lot to lose. But the other part is people don't know how to fight back.
Were you afraid in combat?
Sure, yeah, of course.
Well, I mean, I was too.
Yeah.
But guess what? Did you necessarily know how to fight? Like, even though you've been through training, did you necessarily know how to fight and what to expect in combat?
Look, even if everybody believes the same thing and is motivated to that end, they still need leadership. Like, in a leadership vacuum, none of this stuff ever comes to fruition.
Well, here's the deal. I just think that everybody needs to stop bitching all the time. And you should live by a rule that if there is a problem that you bring up, you must be willing to do whatever it takes to fix it. And if it's not willing to fix it, you shouldn't fucking bitch about it. It's like, don't walk outside and bitch about the trash being in the parking lot if you're not willing to grab a fucking trash can and pick it up, right? And I think that's the problem, right? Because if you put those principles with it, people don't have as many fucking problems as they say they do.
For sure, yeah. I mean, at least not ones that they're willing to do anything about.
So that's my point.
So what does doing something about it look like for the average person?
I mean, I just told you, like, just
saying
I'm an average person. Like, I'm only going to do what I believe in.
Right.
Like,
But there's, I mean.
Like, give me an example.
Just in general, how does the average person who doesn't, I mean, you might run into a handful of those instances in your entire lifetime where you have to take a stand like that, right? Most people just go on about their business, but we are stronger together than we are apart. So my question, I guess, that I'm not asking correctly really is, how do we empower people to do what you're talking about? How do we as a community, like the people listening to this show right now, you and I personally, all these assholes over here, how do we motivate and encourage and empower people to do that? Because that is what leadership is.
Well,
ultimately.
first, I mean, it's simple. Like, we're doing it right now. Like, first off, you have to go back and live by you have to live by principles you believe in. Mm-hmm. You have to write them down and look at them. Like, we've got 11 principles. I live by those principles. I live by those fundamentals, and guess what? I'm willing to lose everything that I have over fundamentals and principles that I live by.
Right.
That's the problem is people, they don't even know what they believe in.
It's not a bad idea to write it down sometime.
Well, I mean, they don't even know.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even know. Like, the problem is most people in America, they just get caught in the fucking bullshit. Like, when you talk about we together, I mean, I'm surrounded by people that live, because guess what? I don't call it judging. I'm constantly evaluating people that are in my circle for multiple reasons. And I base it off of how they treat other people. I base it off of, the big thing for me is if I die today, because my daughters see everybody I'm around. Right. Everybody that I talk about, I bring their names up. Everybody that they see is exposed to me or that I talk to or whatever, right? My daughters see that. And if I died tomorrow, I look at every person. I say, if I died tomorrow and this guy wanted to step up and be there for my daughters, or my daughters for some reason thought they could go to him,
right?
Would I want that?
Yeah.
And if I say no, then they're fucking out.
Yeah.
So back to your thing, like, everybody's the victim. You got all these fucking guys out here, like, I talk shit about them all the time, training in kit.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this, they let riots go on in their fucking cities.
Yeah.
All this shit, right? So my thing to you is this, is people, and I'm not saying you got to go out and protest or do what look what the Bundys did.
Yeah.
Right or wrong. I mean, they're willing to die for what they're fucking doing, right?
Definitely a nuanced situation, although those guys are idiots.
They're idiots.
Yeah.
But that's my point is like, dude, you're not taking my land.
Yeah.
I follow the law. I'm a law-abiding citizen.
Right.
I believe in the laws that I follow. And I just look at it as every situation is, I evaluate every situation. I say, at what cost?
Right.
So like, I don't like this. I don't necessarily agree with it. But at what cost do I not agree with it?
Yeah.
And that tells you everything you need to know. It's not that fucking hard. How many things do you do? I mean, let's just talk about that. When you look at things in life, how many things do you fucking live by that you don't fucking believe in?
I don't think any, because I don't think you truly believe something until you're doing it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't believe in helping people.
So what's the government doing to you? What's the government doing to you? What is it doing to affect your everyday life?
I mean, they take tax dollars.
Okay.
That's really about it, to be honest.
Outside
for me,
that,
personally.
like what?
Well, I mean, that's not true. I mean, we work in media. We work through these social media programs, and we've been actively censored for a long time, and it appears as though the government is encouraging that.
Yeah, but guess what we've done, though?
Talk about it, I guess.
And guess what else we've done? We found a way to fucking work around it.
Yeah, in a lot of ways,
And at the point that we say, fuck it, we don't want to do that anymore, we can't still make a living to do it, guess what? We'll go find something else to do.
Well, that there's an implied, so that's a good task, but there's an implied task with that, and that is if you want to live in a world where those things are the case, then you not only have to do that yourself, but you have to encourage it in others and facilitate it if you're able. If you have some platform or some kind of methodology or whatever it happens to be that can help someone navigate around, circumvent some of this stupid bullshit that these motherfuckers are doing, whether it's the government or corporatism, either way, then you have a responsibility to fucking do that shit. Teach the next motherfucker so they can teach the next motherfucker. So when you and I are old ass invalids, we're not living in a fucking a basement somewhere getting tortured because of our beliefs. But there's still people left, good men and women, to protect society and our children and our grandchildren, etc.
But here's the thing is, man, this is the fucking reality of it, is that most people won't stand up, or they're fucking scared to do what they live their life on their own terms. You want to know why? Because somebody has fucking been taking care of them forever. And the chance of somebody saying, I'm like, me and you, I can live on my own.
Yeah. I mean,
like, I can live in a fucking cardboard box. And my kids will not be hungry. Like, I'm not worried about it. But
Same.
most people have never had that. And the fear of not being able to get the handout is greater.
I mean, people in Florida are suing DeSantis right now for ending unemployment after a year and a half. Like, dude, get a fucking job. It's Florida.
Bro.
It's been open.
There you go.
Florida's been open this whole time.
Bro.
Well, this has been a good conversation, but I'll see you in hell.
I'll see you in hell.